Hello, Abraham. Nice to meet you. Actually, didn't think I was going to get called, but
That can't be true.
I have a question.
But sometimes when your desire is strong, it doesn't matter what you believe, because your desire just dominates.
Yes, indeed.
And it's time for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
And we didn't just meet. We're just more obvious now.
Thank you. So I've been thinking about this because I had a dream.
Yeah?
So how does someone overcome subconsciousness?
Overcome
subconsciousness. So what has been engraved in us, a thought behavior. So feelings such as guilt, things that have been taught, and therefore feelings. So because what we think is a feeling.
Well, we could give you our opinion about it, but that wouldn't necessarily change you. It's only your life experience that helps you to accomplish that. You used a word, a lot of people use this word, and we want to clarify it for you, and this will help as the basis of this conversation. People talk about subconscious thoughts, like they're thoughts that they picked up unconsciously. They're thoughts that they believe that there are a lot of them, and that those thoughts are then affecting what happens to them. But we want to say to you that the only thoughts that affect you are the thoughts that are active. So if it's a subconscious thought, meaning you're not conscious of it, a truly subconscious thought, meaning below consciousness, you won't have feelings around because there's not enough activation to compete with what your inner being really knows. So if you're having a feeling about it, it's not a subconscious thought, it's an active thought that's in competition or not. You can have an active thought that is not in competition with who you really are and what you really know, and that thought will feel like a good idea. That thought will feel energizing. You'll feel vitality from it. You'll feel interest in it. It's only the thoughts that are really in opposition to what your inner being knows. So for example, if you're thinking a thought like, I'm not good at this, or I can't succeed at this, your inner being is not thinking that thought, so your feeling would be a negative feeling. So don't worry about subconscious thoughts weighing you down or being a disadvantage to you, because they are not. If they are so subconscious that you're not feeling around them, they are a non-player in your point of attraction. It's only the things that you are feeling around that are players in your point of attraction. So then it gets a little easier, because a thought that doesn't feel good, now obviously the thing to do is stop thinking those thoughts that don't feel good. But it's not that simple, is it? Because law of attraction keeps them coming. And that's why people come up with these flawed premises that, oh, there must be subconscious things going on because I wouldn't do that to myself, so it must be subconscious. No, it's not subconscious, it's conscious, and you keep doing it to yourself because it's easier to continue to think that thought because it has momentum than to stop thinking that thought. Following? But now you know how to stop the thought. Now you know how to slow that momentum. Now you know that there's another thought that also has momentum that with a little bit of attention you can hook into. One time someone says, I'm worried about when I die being unconscious. The idea of unconsciousness really bothered her. And we said, oh, it's not unconscious then, it's superconscious. Superconsciousness. In other words, when you release this physical body and you reemerge into non-physical and you join your inner being and all that your inner being knows about everything and about you, super consciousness. We just don't think you should have to croak in order to hook up with that. We think that a bit of understanding of the laws of the universe and a little awareness of how you feel and a little more determination to feel good and to be willing to do whatever it takes to feel good will lead you right there. You followed all of that, didn't you?
Yeah.
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 Anything else around that?
Well, now it makes more sense, but I answered my own question last week because I had this dream where just a month ago my wife and I traveled to Portugal, and in my dream we were traveling back to Portugal and we were in a train, and I was feeling so guilty because I was telling my wife, we just came a month ago and we're on vacations again. But because of what's been ingrained in me, no, you got to work to deserve.
Yeah, got to suffer and sacrifice.
A year later, so you can travel again. And then it was given to me then. And then we are having this nice coffee and these pastries and all that. My wife is having all this fun. And I'm just thinking about, oh, shoot, where am I going to get the money to pay for this? Right? And then I parked the car in the wrong spot. I'm going to get a ticket. So sure enough, in the dream, I walked out and there is the car and it has a ticket. Right? So even in my dream, I'm attracting these things.
Well,
so then I wake up and then I'm like, what did I learn from this? And like, just accept it and be in the moment, truly in the moment.
Well, here's the most important thing from a dream. What you think and how you feel equals your point of attraction. So in your wake state, what you've got going on in your thought process and how you feel about it, and then what happens is always a vibrational match, no exception. But it's also true of your dream state. The wonderful thing about dream state is that as you are pondering these questions, or as you are wanting to understand how all of this works, you're asking these questions. But in your dream state, you have no resistance because you're asleep and your resistance is inactive. So your dream can play out in a way that can make more vivid for you what's going on with you. So your dream pointed out to you that you feel guilty about feeling good, that you still have some resistance to letting the universe treat you in the way that you deserve to be treated. You're not quite sure how you deserve to be treated. In other words, you played that out in that magnificent, very telling dream. And that's not so different than what's going on in your day-to-day experience, really, is it? So we want to, because you are wide open right here and hearing us, we want to express to you some things because of your openness and your ability to feel resonance with them. The true knowing won't come from this, but you'll feel enough resonance that other dreams will come that will show you the shift that is taking place with you as a result of this conversation that we're having. So we just want to say some things to you while you're wide open, while you're in this receptive mode. Humans will teach you sacrifice, not because they don't love you, but because they don't know better. And when momentum is such that there have been many things happening in their experience that they don't have control over, their logical assumption is that since life has done that to them, that it might do it to you. And so in a well-meaning way, they seek to serve you in a sort of warning way. And so in time, they teach you things that your inner being knows are not real. They teach you sacrifice. Well, the only thing that anyone ever can really sacrifice is their alignment with Source. Everything bad that feels like it is happening is not because of what's happening. It's because in your attention to it, you're not in resonance with the wholeness of who you are. And the negative emotion, the emptiness, the futility, the fear, the vulnerability is all only about your disallowing the true resources. And so once you really accept that sacrifice is not the way, Esther, even with all that she has come to know, had a series of events that were so telling to her as she had experience after experience where she was wanting to do for someone who was in need. And in the process of attempting to do for them because they were in need, she found resonance with them without even knowing that she was doing it. And in the process, sacrificed her alignment under the disguise of doing good. You see what we're getting at? When you are willing to say that good is supposed to come to you, and you revel when a new idea comes and you know it feels good. When that elation, when Esther met Abraham, she asked if she should explain it to her parents. And we said to her, we don't think it's a good idea because they're far enough along in life and their beliefs are pretty much where they are. And you will only upset their apple cart with it. And maybe in the process your own too. But Esther thought that she would like them to know, because the thing that was most strong in her mind was the elation that she was feeling through it. She knew it had to be good. So she went to visit her parents, and she was all frisky and excited and decided to explain to them this wonderful thing that had happened to her. And they didn't see it quite that way. They didn't see it anything like that way. And her mother explained to her that this couldn't be good. And Esther couldn't understand why her mother wasn't expecting something that good to come to Esther. It's come to you, Esther, but it can't be good. And Esther said, something that feels like this has to be good. It has to be. She'd had enough exposure to it to know the value of it, even though others that mattered a lot to her were wanting her to not accept her own guidance about it and to follow instead their fearful guidance. That kind of good can't be coming, Esther. It must be bad. And her mother said these words, the devil will play so many tricks on you. The devil will show you 1,000 good things to get you into his clutches for one bad thing. And Esther said, Mama, I know for sure that's not what's going on here. I know for sure that's not what's going on here. Now, if Esther had not been along the way, if she had not had enough of that resonance, if she had not come to understand that when something feels this good, it is, then someone's fearful words might have taken her out of alignment, and she might have joined in their fear and guardedness. You see what we're getting at? The only way to know is to know. And the only way to know is to find resonance with what you know is good. And when you do, then everything else takes care of itself. And then in time, so many of those thoughts that you've thought along your way, that you've been taught by well-meaning others who were just in that place of not knowing, they didn't know. They were taking other people's word for it. Her mother did not know. Her mother could not have known this resonance. She knew it once she made her transition, but she could not have known this resonance, or she could not have said those things to Esther, you see. Helpful?
Indeed. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.